So, I tried 22 demos during this year's Steam Next Fest. I think it's actually the first Next Fest ever. Now, here's the thing, I want to talk about all of them and give you my thoughts, like, in as much detail as I possibly can. So, I'm gonna start with Blaster Master 03. Now, I'm not gonna pretend I'm a huge fan of Blaster Master. I never beat any of the previous games. Like, I beat 0 and 02, which reminds me I have to finish uploading the Let's Play of 02. No, 03 I think might actually be the best game in the trilogy. Thing is, I can't really judge until I play the full game. But going by the demo, it's really good. And again, I think it might actually be the best game in the Blaster Master series out of the ones I have played. And I think my only complaint is that they are recycling this boss, going by the screenshots on the Steam page. Which, by the way, the only reason I'm doing this is that I suck at editing. So I actually didn't record any footage of the other, like, of any of the games I played during the next fest. But yeah, this is one that you might actually want to check out once it gets released. It's actually a pretty good game. Well, 1 and 2 are, I don't know if 3 is. Going by the demo, it's probably the best. But as I said, let's wait and see how the story ends. Because the thing is, like, um, this is supposed to be a direct sequel to 02. So if you haven't played the previous two games, go ahead, play them first. I don't think you're actually missing out if you like. I don't think you're not gonna understand the story if you play 3 first, but it actually helps a lot to play the other two first. That's what I'm trying to say. Overall, really good game, really good first impression. Definitely check it out once it gets released. Now, Cowboy Life Simulator. Here's the reason I checked this one out. Because I'm kind of tired of survival games. But I'm like, I love cowboys. I gotta give this one a try. And going by what I've played of the demo, it's not a bad game. It's not a bad game at all. The thing is, I didn't like it much. Because I don't really care for this kind of game. I don't care for the genre. But what I've played, I thought was actually really well made. Um, Thing is, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna buy this. I'm not gonna buy this when it releases. I don't think I will, at least. So, yeah, like, I won't check it out. I won't check out the full game, so I can't really tell if the game really is all that good or not. I think it's a game with a lot of potential. Um, I think we need more Western games, in terms of all the in terms of Western settings, because we haven't really had many in the last couple of years, as far as I know. We've got RDR2, which I haven't played yet, and we've had West of Loathing, a really good game if you're into indie RPGs and that kind of stuff. It's a really good game. This like the comedy is kind of hit or miss. It was a mostly a hit for me most of the time, but I can see why it's not for a lot of people. So yeah, it's actually a really good game. And Cowboy Life Simulator, I think, has some issues, but I wouldn't say the game is bad at all. I think it has potential. now it's time to check out the next game, which is Cris Tales. And boy, oh boy, this is one of the highlights of Next Fest for me. It's a really, really good JRPG from what I got to play. It's actually coming out next month too. Um, Here's some of the stuff I gotta say about this. Like first off, I didn't like the art style much when I was looking at the screenshots. I was like, I'm gonna give it a chance anyway, right? Because I love turn-based JRPGs, and so I did. And I like some of the mechanics in the game, both for the overworld exploration, not overworld, but like the exploration itself. As you can see, there's like um, it's this kind of looks like a crystal. I don't know if you can see the cursor. You can. Like to the left, you see the past. Like what's on the left is the past of the area. What's on the right is the future, and the middle is the present. And basically, the main character can do a lot of things with a time crystal, right? She can sort of time travel, but not really. It's more like she can see the past and the future simultaneously, and she can interact with the present or send the frog back in time or to the future. I think, yeah, he actually can go to the future to interact with stuff in all the like in the three time periods. It's interesting. It's an interesting mechanic. It's actually well used in the battles. Like the game lets you fight the first boss, right? I'm going to spoiler territory here. When the game lets you, like the demo lets you fight the first boss in the game. The game like the boss has this metal armor that's very hard to pierce, right? It's hard to get through the the bad guy's armor, basically. So what you can do is you have one of your party members has water magic, right? So you cast that water magic, then send the enemies to the future so their armor rusts. And when the armor rusts, you know what happens. You can actually start dealing damage to the boss. And the game has a lot of interactions like that, right? Another thing you get to try in the demo is playing around with poison. Um, Basically, if you poison an enemy in the present and then you send the enemy to the future. Um, that damage, like all the damage they would have taken from the poison. Let's assume they would have taken one HP worth of damage per turn, and the poison lasts 6 turns. When you send the enemy to the future, it takes 6 points of damage at once, like in just one turn. It's interesting. It has a lot of interesting mechanics like that you can play around with, and I hope it succeeds. I hope this is a really good game. Um, Again, it's one of the highlights of Next Fest for me. I didn't like the art style much at first, but then I actually started playing it. Like I started playing the demo. The cutscenes look pretty good. The battle, like the combat system, is fine. I like the time traveling stuff during battles, but at the same time, I don't think it has all that much out of the ordinary to offer. Even then, it's like if you're a fan of JRPGs, this is one you might want to look out for. Um, yeah, there really isn't much more I can say about this. The music is pretty good too. Like as you can see in this screenshot, invoke past crystal, so you can send that enemy to the past and make it a baby, basically. As you can see, like in this screenshot, the enemy in the right, the orc, has been, um, I think it's actually a goblin. Like he's been sent to the future, so now he's older, so he takes more damage and deals less damage as well. And you can turn the ones on the left into babies by invoking the past crystal. It's an interesting mechanic. Um, yeah, this is potentially one of the best indie JRPGs to be released in the next couple of years. I could be wrong because I haven't really played many indie JRPGs. I know there are some really good ones made in RPG Maker. This is like going by what I've tried of this. This is actually a really good one. Uh, Death Trash. This is one I'm not all that interested in. I thought the setting was really good. I thought the gameplay mechanics were really good. The music is good, but I'm tired of the cyberpunk. Like, I'm tired of the cyberpunk genre. I'm tired of cyberpunk settings. So it's like, I mean, yeah, cyberpunk isn't a genre. It's basically a subgenre or a kind of setting in sci-fi. But anyway, like Death Trash starts off pretty good. Like going by what I got to play in the demo, the game is really good. I don't think the writing is good. I didn't like the writing at all. Um, but mechanically, like gameplay wise, the game is really solid. And I think playing around with all the different builds you might be able to use. Is you've got like the character creation was kind of reminiscent of Fallout 1 and 2 for me. Um, like you have, I mean, yeah, that's common in RPGs in general, but you have a bunch of stats, and then you have like skills that are percentage based, from what I remember. I think this might actually be one. Like it wasn't a highlight of Next Fest for me, but I can see it being a highlight for a lot of people. So I'd recommend checking this out if you can when it releases. It's actually being released in like a month and a half, August 5th. You might actually like this one. You know, it's. I'm not really into it, as I said, but I think this is a game a lot of people are gonna like. Dodgeball Academia. Here's the thing, I didn't like the art style much. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't a fan of the art style. On the other hand, I've always wanted a dodgeball game like Super Dodgeball on the Neo Geo, or well, arcade, I guess. I love that game, and I thought this would be somewhat similar. It kind of is. Thing is, I don't know if I'm gonna get this on release. It's basically a dodgeball RPG. It's not a bad game. I think mechanically it works pretty well. Um, I like the idea um, of playing a sports RPG, right? And I like the idea of playing a new dodgeball game that I actually like after so many years. And yeah, this one isn't bad. Um, I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, mostly because of the art style. But seriously, if you play this, you might actually like it. If it ever gets in our demo, and this looks like the kind of game you might enjoy, you might be into it. I don't know. Personally, I don't think I'm gonna get this one. Maybe I will, but I'm not all that interested. Freshly Frosted. This actually was one of the highlights of Next Fest for me. Here's the thing, this is just a puzzle game, right? You have to take donuts um, like, from their. Oh man, I forgot the word. Basically, it's from one exit to the other, but all the different donuts have to have different toppings. And something I liked is the music. The music is fantastic. Like, the music is some of the best I've heard in a puzzle game. But I haven't really played all that many puzzle games, so um, here's the thing. Here's the thing about this game. Even if I don't play puzzle games all that often, I like playing them from time to time because I consider them to be very, very relaxing experiences. And this one was just that for me. In fact, I can't wait for it to be released. The demo is still going on, and I think if you're into puzzle games, especially of this kind, you would actually love this one. It's just really good. And I think that's pretty much what I can say about this one. The UI kind of seemed like something out of a phone game, of a mobile game, so that might be a bit of a turn off for some people. But I didn't mind it. I didn't really mind it. I think this is a game that a lot of people might actually enjoy. So yeah, again, like, even if it's not one of the best games I've played in Steam in Next Fest, it's one of the highlights for me. Um, Glimmer and Mirror. Here's one I can't really recommend. This is one that has a demo as well. Here's the thing. I thought the gameplay was alright. I think it has some cool concepts. I like the concept of behind the familiars having their own levels and kind of modifying your stats. If I understood that well. The thing is, right now the game's translation is kind of bad. It's not the worst translation I've ever dealt with, but it's not good. It's not a good translation at all. And I don't know, like, the gameplay looked like it was pre it was alright. It was good. The controls were fine. The mechanics themselves weren't particularly hard to deal with. I think there was some other stuff in there, but like the art style, the game looks really good. It has a very charming art style, but again, like a lot of other Chinese games I've played, this one has a pretty bad translation, so keep that in mind. Right now, I can't really recommend it mostly because of that. The translation kind of sucks, and I hope they fix that. I hope they do because this is a game with a lot of potential. Let's see if the trailer shows any of the cutscenes. Again, I won't say this was one of the highlights of the game for me, like of the next fest for me. As you can see, the gameplay really isn't anything out of the ordinary. I like the there was another thing that I really liked. I like the music, and also the level design was pretty good. It wasn't great, but it was pretty good. And well, that's a mechanic I never really got to play around with. Um, this is a game with a lot of potential, honestly, and if it comes out and it turns out to be a really really good game, I would definitely recommend getting it. If it ever gets like the demo is still ongoing, you might want to check it out if you like what you see on the screenshots. You might want to check this one out. Greek Memories of Azur. I never really knew the how to pronounce that word. Here's the thing. Here's the thing with this one. I like some of the stuff the game has to offer. I like the art style. I like the music. The gameplay was alright. I tend not to like the I tend not to like games where you have to switch characters constantly, and there are a few exceptions, right? Like the Lost Vikings, um, which is a very old game. This one really relies on you trying to use all three characters as much as you can, and that can be kind of annoying. I don't think the game is poorly made. If anything, I think what I've played of the demo, again, the level design was really good. Not something I particularly enjoyed for two reasons, and I will get into that in a bit. But I thought the level design worked really well with the mechanics the game has. Um, and the reason, again, I'm not a fan of having to switch between characters to solve some puzzles and whatnot. It's kind of funny I'm saying this because I love the Astalon, even if the game is really really buggy. But there's another reason I didn't like the level design in this game and the gameplay in particular, like in general. Even if the gameplay is good, like the gameplay is nothing out of the ordinary, but it's good. And the reason I didn't like it was because if you're playing the game with a controller, which I think most people would like to do, like a lot of people tend to enjoy platformers. If you're playing the game with a controller and the game has, like not the game, but your controller has some drifting on the left stick, you're gonna suffer a lot. Because it's gonna be harder for when you're playing as the girl, you're gonna have trouble aiming in some cases. At least that was the case for me. if you're playing as, I think Greak was his name, the boy, it's like there were a lot of times where I went to do the regular hits, and I ended up doing upward slashes, or trying. I was trying to do aerial combos, and I would end up slamming into the ground, and that's mostly because again, I left stick has a lot of drifting. And look at this wheel right there. Um, you have to move the left stick in a circular motion, like in a clockwise or clockwise motion, depending on what you want to do. And the thing is, sometimes I would let go of the controller without pressing B to stop using the wheel, and the thing, like the platform would be going up and down constantly, and that's pretty annoying. And again, that's not fault of the game. That's not an issue with the game. That's something you might want to keep in mind if your analog stick has any kind of drifting. Other than that, great presentation. The soundtrack seemed pretty good. The gameplay was pretty good too. The level design was actually really good. It was way better than I expected it to be. So I hope this one succeeds. But again, this is probably not one that I'm gonna get on release. I might get it if I get a new controller. I might get it if that happens. But I don't think I will for the time being. But yeah, pretty good game. I would actually recommend this one. It has a demo. Like the demo is still going on, so you can try it. Um, Hodel Magnate. Oh, this is actually published by Cris Tales. Honestly, I wasn't particularly impressed with this one. I liked it. I like what I've played of it. Kind of reminded me of Theme Hospital, and that's not a bad thing per se because I actually love um, Theme Hospital. I think this is a game with a lot of potential, but I can't really say much about it. Like you have a hotel, you have to manage it. That's it. Like yeah, it's a resource management game, and that's pretty much it. I like the building though. I like the music. The music was pretty good. It was kind of relaxing in a way, and the demo is still going on, so you might actually want to try this one out if this is the kind of game you're into. Kingdom Builders. This is an interesting one. Like this is an interesting take on the city builder genre. It's basically city builder slash RPG, like action RPG. I thought it was pretty good. I thought this was pretty good. Not a game I would probably get on release, but it's not a bad game. Basically, you play as the king of a new colony, and you have to build that colony. But the thing is, to make it grow, you have to do pretty much everything by yourself and the help of whoever you design as your assistant of sorts. Right? You can have more than one. And it's kind of hard to explain. I wonder if the demo is still going on. It is. It's actually supposed to release in 2 days, and it's not gonna be the full release. It's gonna be the early access release, and honestly, I don't care for the art style much. I don't think it's bad. It's not the kind of art style I like, but I don't think it's bad. I like the action RPG elements the game has. Um, I like a lot of the other mechanics the game has as well. Like having your companions follow you around, doing the same things you're doing. Like they imitate pretty much every single move you make. That's kind of interesting. Um, the way building the city works is pretty interesting. Not something I've ever seen another game do. From what I've heard, Aurora Dusk is somewhat similar, but I could be wrong. But yeah, this is a game with a lot of potential. I can see a lot of people liking this one, definitely. Then Little Witch in the Woods, and this is one that I think has a lot of potential, but at the same time, I didn't like the demo much. I had some issues with the demo, and that's mostly that it starts off so slow. It has such a slow start, at least the demo, that it made me wonder why not start the game a bit later, like not the the game itself, but the demo, where you already when you already have a lot of mechanics unlocked. I think this is a game with a lot of potential. Again, I think the demo um, isn't really indicative of how good the game can be, and I hope the game actually ends up being a success to some extent. I think it's a game with a lot of charm. I thought some of the dialogue was charming. I thought the music was pretty good. But I can't really say much more about it. Like, I didn't get to do much. Again, mostly because I kind of lost interest like 30 minutes. Sorry, I had to yawn. Had a pretty long day. But going back to this, it's like the game has a lot of potential, but the demo doesn't really show much of it. But I hope the game is a success. I think it's, as I said, I think this has potential to be one of the biggest indie games of the next couple of years. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. Doesn't have a demo right now going, so yeah, you might like this one. I can't really say much about it, sadly. NORCO, this is an interesting one. Because I thought it was like an old school point and click game. And I actually, like, I was expecting a LucasArts game. And what I got was closer to Deja Vu or Uninvited. I thought the writing was pretty good. I had a few issues with it. It was mostly the wording of a few sentences. It's not the writing itself being bad. I don't like the wording of a few sentences. But I don't think it's bad writing at all. from what I've seen, here's the thing: I've never really played Disco Elysium. From what I've seen, some of the interface is kind of similar. Like I'm talking about the way the dialogue works. Like look on the left, it's kind of similar to what you see on Disco Elysium. The headspace thing, I've heard Disco Elysium has a similar mechanic, but I could be wrong. The setting is really good, the music is good. The game has like this unsettling atmosphere constantly. The game, like, here's the thing: if you haven't played the demo, the demo is still available. If you haven't played the demo yet, please go and give it a try. Like, you're not losing anything by giving the demo a try. I'm not gonna say it blew me away. Again, this is a game that I went in expecting not to like, mostly because, again, I'm kind of tired of cyberpunk settings and whatnot. But I tried it out, right? And I was surprised by how good the presentation is, by how good the writing is, how unsettling the atmosphere is. It's just so far, like going by just the demo, so far it is a really good game. I think it has potential to be the next Disco Elysium in a way. I think it might actually be better than Disco Elysium, going by what I've read people say. Hopefully it is. Hopefully this is a game that exceeds everyone's expectations. I can see this one being huge. The story seemed alright, like it seemed pretty good. It had some interesting stuff going for it. Patron. Interesting one. It's basically another city builder, but if you've played Rise to Ruins, it's kind of similar but more mechanically complex and better explained, if you ask me. And again, I've only played the demo. Does it? The demo is still up, so you might want to try this one out. It's a really, really good game. Like, I really would recommend checking this one out if you're into city builders of any kind. I wouldn't say it's one of the more unique ones I've played. I think it's one of the best looking ones, at least going by the demo. And yeah, this is something that I found really interesting. This is part of the description. Navigate the intricate social tensions before they reach boiling point. Um, there's a part, let me see, that's research. Kind of looks like the civilization tech trees. I can find it. Like the part with all the policies you can work with, you can play around with. It's pretty good. It seems to be quite complex. As it says, it has a unique social dynamic system, and if that's well implemented, this might actually become one of the best city builders out there, I think. I could be wrong, but I think it really could become one of the best city builders out there if everything is properly um, if everything is properly done. So Severed Steel. This is one that I didn't play much, admittedly, but what I did get to play, it was a really good first impression. It's basically, what if Mirror's Edge were a much more action oriented game and also was divided into shorter stages. This is really good. Like you have the stun system, which is really good. I think it's one of the like it actually is one of the selling points of the game. I think it's one you might want to check out. Definitely. Like the demo is still going on, and it was honestly really good. There was a point where I stopped playing because I had other stuff to do. Because I got frustrated at a specific part, which I assume was like halfway through the demo. But I gotta say, man, this is a game that might be one of the best first-person shooters in the last couple of years. It's coming soon, supposedly. Again, give it a try. The demo is still there. Doesn't seem like a bad game. Again, I've tried it, and I don't think it was mind blowing in any way. I thought it was a good game. I thought every mechanic was implemented well enough for me to say this is something a lot of people might like. A lot of people might not like because they might get dizzy when doing all the stunts and whatnot. That said, feel free to give this one a try because it has a lot of potential. This potential really, really good game. Super Magbot. Here's the thing, this one actually got released today, and all the reviews so far, it's interesting, and the demo is still there. Now, the first thing I want to say about this one, the music is fantastic. The music is fantastic. Now, the other thing I gotta say, this is what sets the game apart from other games. It's a puzzle platformer where you can jump. You might be thinking, who the heck thought of a platformer where you can jump? But no, it actually works really well here. Like, I haven't tried this one with a controller, right? Because you have to be very precise. But you have like a gauntlet. I don't think it's a gauntlet. I think it's like a gun. Like you have magnetic powers basically. So if you use the red part of your arm, which is the right click with the red platforms, it repels you because it's like your arm has magnetic powers basically. So you have to constantly remember that um, equals repel each other and opposites attract. So it's like you have to constantly play with that, with the powers of magnetism. You have to remember the laws of magnetism constantly. The level design is really good. I want to say some of the best I've seen in a puzzle platformer, but it's good. It's really really good. Would definitely recommend checking out the demo if this is the kind of game you're into. I'm glad the reviews so far are positive. I remember playing this one, like this one stage, and having to be like, okay, I have to remember exactly which mouse button I have to use. So I've made my mind like right, um, right, 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 left, right, right. I'd be thinking like that constantly just to get through the level. Because it's very easy to mess up due to muscle memory. Yeah, Super Magbot, really good one. Synthetic too. Here's the thing. I love the original Synthetic. I like it quite a bit. That said, Synthetic 2, I don't know if it's the game that's poorly optimized or if my PC just decided to malfunction that day for some reason. Not malfunction, but it wasn't acting up really, but Synthetic 2 was lagging very hard. It was taking up a lot of RAM. Overall, I like the demo. It's more of the same but with an isometric perspective, I guess. It's interesting in a lot of ways. It's interesting in a lot of ways. Um, can't really say much about it, really. I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed at all. I thought it was fine, but I think a lot of people are gonna keep on playing the original synthetic, and a lot of people are gonna play this one, and the fan base is probably gonna be very divided over which one is better. That's just the way I see it. I think it's a possibility. Terraformers. This is one that I want to say it blew me away. It didn't. I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was good. Now the thing is, when I started playing it, here's the thing. As you can see, like it's kind of reminiscent of Civilization Beyond Earth, I guess, in a way. But something I noticed is that the city building part kind of looks like Master of Orion too. That's not a bad thing. I think it's a game that deserves more recognition. I feel weird about this one because I think this is a game that, like, what I didn't like about the demo, and this is a screenshot of the demo. I think is it always 30 turns? Apparently, actually. Oh no, this is the demo too. But I thought I was really limited by what the demo let you do. There was there are some interesting mechanics, right? Like the way resources work. I thought that was pretty interesting. The fact that every single building you have is basically a card that you have to spend to build that building. I thought it was interesting. Get one for free each turn. There really isn't much more I can say about this one. It's a good game. I can see this being a big deal at some point. But I don't think people are gonna like it all that much. I think it has I think it has a lot of potential. I think it might be a really good indie game that gets a lot of publicity in in a couple of months. Maybe next year. I don't really know what else I can say about this one. I don't know what the general consensus is. But it was pretty good by what I've played. What else has goblins? publishing released, like well published. Um, a bunch of games I actually don't know. I actually haven't heard of any of these. Maybe they're good, maybe they're not. I don't know. They always run. This is another one I tried and I was like, I don't know why I'm trying this. And it's fine. It's a fun game. I don't like it all that much. And again, that's mostly because my analog stick kept messing up the movement. There were a lot of times where I would just want to run, and the main character would keep on crouching over and over again, and that was just annoying in a lot of ways. But again, that's on my controller, that's not on the game itself. The game itself, it's not a bad game. I remember seeing the trailer in another video at some point. There really isn't much I can say about this one, honestly. I don't think it's all that impressive. I think a lot of people might actually enjoy this one a lot. But personally, it's not for me. Like, mechanically speaking, it didn't really catch my attention all that much. I thought the setting was pretty cool. Like, this reminds me of an old game called Flashback. Yeah, this is a game with a lot of potential, I think. Actually, no, I'm not sure. The story's pretty good from what I've seen. Hopefully, it is. Tiny Thor, this is a platformer I kind of liked, but I'm not particularly hyped for this one. It's not a bad game. If anything, I agree with it being a callback to the 16-bit era platformers. The gameplay is really reminiscent of old SNES games, and I can't remember if it was the trailer or somewhere else that they said that the music was inspired by Amiga games music, and I can see that. I can see the resemblance. Mechanically speaking, I'm not all that interested in the game. The music is good. The music is really, really good. Um, I'm actually get the game just for the soundtrack. If it releases with the soundtrack, um, overall a decent platformer. Honestly, again, the demo is still up there. Unsighted. Here's the thing. This is another game where I was like, I'm not gonna like it. I'm not a fan of the art style. And I tried it. I was like, this isn't too bad. Like, the gameplay is really good. The story just didn't seem all that interesting. But the gameplay was pretty good. That's something I have to admit. I thought the music was pretty good too. So that's another thing to keep in mind. The demo is still there, so this is another game that you might actually want to check out at some point. If this is the kind of game that you think you might like. Wartales. Now, I didn't play this one all the way through, admittedly. Basically, like, the gist of it, I hate comparing it to other stuff. I think this is the best way I can describe the game. It's Mountain Blade It's Mount and Blade with turn-based combat, and you have to pay the wages to the mercenaries um, manually. This is another highlight of the next fest for me. The gameplay was good, the music was good, like the art style. Um, I was gonna say the difficulty is kind of brutal, but not really. So there really isn't much more I can say about the game, really. Like in all honesty, just by saying that the game is basically Mountain Blade with turn-based combat, I think I've told you enough. Um, Hopefully they don't mess the game up. I really hope so, because I love Mountain Blade. Now moving on to the last one. This is Is 9. Here's the thing, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of the Is series. I like every single game I've played, so I'm missing 7 and 8 actually. And a Super Famicom game, I think. I could be wrong. This is a really good game, I think. Like, going by the demo, again, I'm not gonna say it's the best thing I've ever played. This is apparently. Actually, you know what? I haven't watched the video because I don't want to spoil the game for myself. But there are way better reviews of this game already out there. Like, go watch GameStack's review of the game. And I'll probably give you an idea of whether you'd like this one or not. But going by the demo, and again, going by how much I love the series, or at least the games I've played, this is the one that got me the most excited. I really liked the gameplay, even if it wasn't all that good. I thought it was pretty good. It was exactly what I expected from the title. Um, yeah, it's very simple. It doesn't really have. It's not really a very complex game in terms of gameplay mechanics. But it's a really good game. Going by, again, man, I wonder how many times I've said going by the demo during this video. Well, that said, man, this is actually the game I'm hyped for the most, and I hope I like it once it releases. I doubt I'll get it on release because I want to play 7 and 8 first. But man, I hope this game is one that I really, really like. Anyway, that's all I have for today, I guess. Have a nice day and thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Bye bye.